Hello and welcome to Monday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and on screen we've got a puzzle by the American maths teacher RockyRoer. Now RockyRoer's puzzles I've become a huge fan of over the last couple of months because they're always just so, well, they're clever on the one hand and they're very interesting on the other. He very rarely does a sort of a standard rule set. He's always mixing and matching, creating odd grids and things, and today's rule set is certainly very interesting. It's a clever, well, it's a hybrid of kropki and killer Sudoku. I've never seen this sort of thing before. The testing reports are stellar. It's got a 99% rating on Logic Masters Germany, only 3 stars out of 5 for difficulty, and indeed our testing reports suggest that this is quite approachable in a good way. So if you're new to Sudoku variants, it might be a good one to try. Now today is a huge day for Mark and me, and for the channel really, because by the time this video goes live, our Kickstarter campaign will have launched. And if you haven't heard, we have launched our Kickstarter campaign basically to create the best Sudoku book that there will ever have been. We looked at long and hard about how to do this, and it did seem that Kickstarter was the way that would be most likely to succeed. And we've reached out to a number of setters already to see whether they can support the project, and the responses have been so positive. It's just brilliant, and I think with your help we'll be able to make a book that everyone will just find a delight. What's going to be in the book? Well, hopefully not just some of the great puzzles that we've featured on the channel, but if we meet some of the stretch goals, we'll be able to include new puzzles by some of the world's best constructors, as well as possibly new Sudoku hunts as well. So if anybody enjoyed our Harry Potter Sudoku hunt a couple of months ago, that's the sort of thing we're also hoping to include in this book if everything goes well. So I mean, it should be absolutely brilliant. There's there's a video, 1 minute 44. That's only a short way. Look, you can watch a bit of it now. This is over on the Kickstarter campaign, and I'll put a link under the video to this so that you can take a browse at it and hopefully decide to buy a book. That would be absolutely brilliant. I basically guarantee that this book will be an absolute stunner. Now, having said all that, let me get on to the rules of RockyRoer's puzzle. Now, as I say, these are interesting. We've got normal Sudoku rules, which is always a good start, and then we've also got normal killer Sudoku rules. So if you're unfamiliar with killer Sudoku, what that means is that we've got to make sure cells in cages add up to the digit in the top left-hand corner of the cage without repeating a digit. So that's all normal. It's at this point it goes slightly mental, because now it says, in addition, every cage contains kropki dots that must be located by the solver. A black dot between 2 cells means that one of the digits in the cells is exactly double the other. A white dot between 2 cells means that the 2 digits in the cells must be consecutive. The exact number of dots of each type are the digits in the cage sum total. Whoa. Now that is, I've never seen anything like that before, but that is quite stunning. So for example, RockyRoer says a 21, so there's a 21 cage there, look, for example, let's colour that in. That means that there are either 2 black dots and 1 white dot, or 2 white dots and 1 black dot as the relationship between the cells in this cage. So if, for example, these 2 cells were 3 and 6, with one of them being double the other, that would count as a black dot relationship. Let's say this was a 5. That would count as now these 2 are consecutive, so we'd now have 1 of each. Let's say we made that a 4. Now we've got 2 consecutives, one doubling relationship, so we've got 1 black dot, 2 white dots, and now the rest of the cage would have to be filled without creating any more white or black dots. So you can see how many have we got here so far. We've got 18, so we'd have to put 1 and 2 in, and that would break, because these would be, obviously, 1 and 2 can either be a black dot or a white dot. You take your choice. That's one of the key things about kropki. So I think the critical thing we've got to keep track of is that within each cage, all possible kropki dots are signalled by the cage total. So again, if we look at the 40, what that's saying is in this 40 cage, there's either 4 black dots or 4 white dots exactly. And if there are 4 black dots, there are no white dots at all. So this is mental, absolutely mad. And I'm very much looking forward to trying it. Do have a go yourselves. The way to play, of course, is to click the link under the video as usual. Now with that, I get to have the fun now. Let's get cracking. And my eyes are drawn straight away to the 30 cage because that must be 6, 7, 8, 9 in 4 cells. Okay, and in fact, it's got 3, 0. So we know this has got 3 of one type of dot in it exactly. Well, none of these digits can be double the other, so there are no black dot relationships in this cage. So in fact, there are only 3 cell boundaries as well. There's this boundary here, 1, this boundary 2, this boundary 3. So there have to be 3 white dots on those boundaries, which means that this is a consecutive sequence. So it can never start with 7 or 8, because you can't then keep going consecutively to the end. So this must be, what's going on with my typing? I want to put 6 or 9 in there. This must be 6 or 9, and the 2 middle ones must be 7 and 8, because it's either going to go 6, 7, 8, 9, or 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, I don't think we can tell which way round it goes. So that must be a trick we've got to work out later. 10 in 4 cells has got to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now this can only have 1 kropki dot in it, which is important, because what on earth are you going to do with the 2? The 2 is in a kropki relationship with every other digit. It's in an optional relationship with the 1. It's either a black dot or a white dot, but it's definitely one of them. It's in a consecutive relationship with the 3, and it's half the value of a 4. So if you put a 2 in either of those 2 squares, you would have to have kropki dots in separating that cell and those cells. So you'd have 2 dots, and there can only be 1 dot, so there cannot be a 2 in either of these 2 squares. There must be a 2 at the end. Now, can we go further than that? If the 2... Yes, we can. If the 2 is next to a 1, like that, what would those 2 squares be? They would be 3 and 4, which are consecutive. So there would be a white dot here, or a black dot here, you take your pick, and then there would have to be a second dot in the box. So we know that whichever one of these is a 2, it's not next to a 1, which I don't really know how to notate that, but I'll try and remember it, I think. 11 and 11 must have 1 of each type of dot. This is important. This is important because there's no 6. So we can't use 3 and 6 in here as our doubling relationship. So we've got to take the black dot in the 11 cage has to come from the 1, 2, 4, 8 sequence. Well, 4 and 8 won't work because if we put 4 and 8 into those 2 squares, this square would have to be -1. That ain't going to get your parsnips buttered, as Mark would say. So there's no 4 and 8. Oh yeah, okay, so we've got a choice. It's either 1, 2 and 8, which it isn't, but let's look at it. 1, 2 and 8. If this is 1, 2 and 8, the 1 and the 2 work, but the 8 cannot partner anything. But we know that both of these boundaries, this boundary and this boundary, have to contain a dot. And as the 8 can't be partnered to anything, that doesn't work. So this must be 2, 4, 5. Yeah, and this is a beautiful idea. I love this puzzle already. It's so clever because now it's the 4 that's the magic in the sauce. Because the 4 has to be, it's in the relationship with the 2, it's in the doubling relationship with the 2, and it's consecutive with the 5. So the 4 has to go in the middle. Otherwise, you can't fulfill the dot criteria, which means these 2 squares are 1 and 3. Okay. That's not 4, look. Let's do some Sudoku. Don't forget Sudoku when you're doing these puzzles. Right, this 40 cage is 8 cells, so it's missing a 5. How do I know it's missing a 5? Well, if you're new to the puzzles, let's just remind ourselves. If you look at any row of a Sudoku, there's 9 digits there that are all different. So the digits 1 to 9, if you add them up, they add up to 45. Well, this cage contains 8 different digits because that's one of the rules of Killer Sudoku. We can't repeat a digit in this cage. So if 9 digits add to 45 and 8 digits add to 40, the difference is 5, and that's the digit that must be missing. So, and that's not very useful here. Well, it might not be useful, but the thing I think is useful is realising that although there's no 5, the effect of there being no 5 in there is there must be a 2 and a 4 in there. And where did the 2 and the 4 go? In this sort of elephant head region. Well, they can't go in those squares because there's a 2, 4 in these 3. So they can only go there. And now this square, where is this square? Whatever we put in this square, where's it appearing in this box? Because you can't repeat a digit in a cage, if we make this a 1, 1 can't go in any of those squares. If we make it a 3, 3 can't go in any of those squares. Now 1 and 3 can't go in those squares either, so this must be a 1 or a 3 to partner up with its friend here. So these are a mirror of each other. Ooh, now actually look. Oh, this is interesting as well. The elephant head shape here. This is a 2-4 pair. So that is a black dot, definitely in the elephant head. So this is saying there are 4 black dots, therefore. 4 black dots. That's quite tricky to do. Because if you go 1 and 2, 2 and 4, 4 and 8, 3 and 6, so every single possible black dot relationship must be achieved in this box. So this can't be 3. If that's 3, the 3 has to be next to a 6. Otherwise we can't get to 4 black dots. So it's not 3, that must be 1. Now the 1 and the 2 have to be in a black dot relationship. The 2 and the 4 have to be in a black dot relationship. The 4 and the 8 have to be in a black dot relationship. So we've now worked our way up to 3 black dots, and the 3 and the 6. Wherever the 3 and the 6 go in this 2x2, they've got to be connected. We need 3, 6, 7 and 9 in there. This puzzle is brilliant because now that cell's restricted. That cell can't be 7 or 9, because if it is 7 or 9, it would be consecutive with 8, and that would create a white dot relationship in this cage, which there cannot be. So this is 7 or 9, making this 3 or 6. So in order for our black dot relationship to work, either this domino is a 3-6 domino, or this domino is a 3-6 domino. So this square can't be a 3 or a 6. And whichever one of these wherever the 6 goes, it can't be next to a 7. That's the other thing I'm just noticing now, because the 7 obviously and the 6 are consecutive. I'm not seeing how to do that. Let's go across and look at the 30 cage maybe. So 30 in 7 cells. So this is missing 2 cells that sum to 15. I can do that because look, there can't be an 8 in the cage. There's an 8 here ruling out an 8 from all those squares. There's an 8 in this domino ruling out 8 from there. So if we know that there are 2 cells missing from the 30 cage which add up to 15 and it's missing an 8, it's also missing a 7. Right, this is clever as well. Look, where does 8 and 7 go in box 2 then? If you can't put them there, well, they must go there. So this is a 7-8 pair. So this is a 9. This can't be 7 because of the 7 here, so this has to be 7, and it's beautiful. So now this can't be the 6, so we get the 3 and the 6 as well. So these 3 squares have got to be 3, 4 and 5. But we can do that because our 30 cage is missing a 7 and an 8. It's not missing a 3 and a 4. So where do the 3 and the 4 go in here? Well, look, those 2 squares are shoving the 3 and the 4. These are the only positions the 3 and the 4 can be. So this becomes a 5. These squares are 5, 6 and 9. These squares have got to be 1, 2, 6 or 9. And the 30 cage, look, now has a consecutive pair in it. So these 2 squares are telling us that the 30 cage is full of white dots, but no black dots. So does that mean these have to be 5 and 6? That would make 1s and 2s along the top. But the 2 could be consecutive with the 3, look. I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure I can do that. Let's move away from there because I spotted something else I can do. There's a 3 here, so this square is a 1. So we can remove 1 from all of those cells. Yeah, and we looked at this. We can't put 2 next to the 1 because if we do, those would become a 3, 4. And that would break the 1, 0 parity. So we've got to have a 2 here. That 2 fixes the 2 and the 5. Must be a 2 in one of those cells. Okay, so now we've got a 6-cell 21 cage. Now I've done enough kropki, not kropki, what am I talking about? Kukuru in my life to know that 21 in 6 cells has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So we get rid of the 3 there and the 5 there. So this has got 2 of one type and 1 of the other, which doesn't feel... Oh, if I have to work on this one, that is going to be brutal because that sounds quite difficult. 22. No, actually look, the cross in the middle is... this is clever. This is clever again. I mean, I shouldn't sound surprised. I'm not surprised. But the thing that surprised me is that normally a 22 clue in 5 cells, you just gloss over it because it's irrelevant. You can't do anything with it in a killer Sudoku. But here, I'm not sure I can do anything with it yet, but it is interesting because the 2, 2 is telling us there are two black dots and 2 white dots amongst... Then there's only 4 different dominoes you can draw in this cross shape. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the central cell has to be in a kropki relationship with every other digit. That's beautiful. It's beautiful. So that means that can't be a 3 or a 6. I mean, you can see it can't be a 3 already anyway, but it can't be a 3 or a 6 because 3 and 6 can only be in a black dot relationship with each other. And 8 is impossible in the middle because 8 can only be in a black dot relationship with 4. 1 can't be in the middle because it can only be in a black dot relationship with 1 other digit. So this has to be this has to be a 2 or a 4, and it can't be a 2 by Sudoku? Well, it can't be. I think that has to be a 4. Now this is where we'll get I'll do the maths and it'll turn out to be totally broken. But let's think about what that means. It means that the cells in the white dot relationship will have to be 3 and 5. They're the only digits consecutive with 4. And the cells in the black dot relationships will have to be 2 and 8. Now hopefully 2, 3, 4, 5 and 8 add to 22. And Yes, they do. Oh, God. I got 21 the first time I did it, but yes, it's 22. So that means we get a 2 there, we get 3s there, or we remove the 3s from there. We can remove the 2 from here. Just because the 2 is vertical with the 4 doesn't mean the 8 is vertical. It could easily go sort of 2, 4, 8 like that. And that would be 3, 5, which is still, yeah, that's possible. That can't be 4, look. Wow, wow. So even that work there has actually given me absolutely nothing. It eliminated a 2 from this square and a 4. We've only got one thing left to look at, and that's the 33 cage. Oh, I should have looked at this immediately. Look, this is amazingly constrained. Ah! Because this is a 7-cell region, and it's a snake region, i.e. it's just a straight line in effect, with a kink in it. But you see what I mean? Each cell only sees, the next cell along the snake. And there are exactly 6 joins. What, this domino? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there are exactly 6 kropki dots to locate. So every single sort of dividing line along this snake has to contain a kropki dot. And it's missing 2 cells that sum to 12. So it's either missing 3, 9, 4, 8 or 5, 7. Oh, this is really beautiful. It's just a beautifully simple idea once you have it. But 4 and 8 can't possibly be missing. Because if 4 and 8 are missing from the cage, what on earth do you do with the 9? The 9 can't be in a relationship with anything, because it needs the 8 to be consecutive with it. It's its only option. So you couldn't actually put the 9 anywhere in the snake, because it couldn't be in a kropki relationship. So 4 and 8 must appear in the 33 cage. So we're down to 3, 9 or 5, 7 not being in the cage. Now 5, 7 is interesting, because doesn't that give this, I'm thinking it might give the 6. Oh, I know how to think about this. Look, let's try and miss 5, 7 out of this cage. Let's try and miss 5, 7 out of the cage. Now, the 6, what kropki relationship is that in now? It can only be in a relationship with the 3. That's its only option. So you could never put a 6 in any of the middle cells, because if you tried to put a 6 here, for example, it could have the 3 on one side of it, but it couldn't be in a kropki relationship the other side. So the 6 has to be at one end or the other. Well, which digit goes with the 1? The 1 can only go with the 2. The 9 can only go with the 8. So there are 3 cells, 3 digits in this cage that need to go at an end, because they can't be in 2 kropki relationships, and that's impossible. So 5 and 7 are not missing, I don't think. So I think 3 and 9 are missing. Let's put that in and see if that... This is when this doesn't work either, and I start to cry. So, how to think about this? So this time, actually, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? This time you can almost feel this is working better, because now there are more options. Every digit apart from 1 has a way out. So 8, for example, can be consecutive with 7, or it can be in a kropki relationship with 4. So, but the one must be at one end. We definitely know that, because the 1 can only be in a relationship with one other digit, and that's the 2. Ah, yeah, okay, and the 2 can only be in one relationship as... Once it's with the 1, it can only be in a relationship with the 4 on the other side. That's its only option. And we need there to be 3 black kropki relationships. So we've got 1 to 2, 2 to 4. The 4 must go with the 8 because the 3 is not in the box, so you can't use 3 and 6. So actually, whichever side of the box is a 1, it then goes 2, 4, 8. So 8's always in the middle of the box. So sorry, let me look at this. So the 1 is in one end of the box. The 2 then goes the 2 then goes next. The 4 then goes next. So there's definitely a 4 in one of those 2 squares. Get rid of those 4s. So if it went 1, 2, 4, 8, we've then got 7, 6, 5. Yeah, so then it has to go down. So the 8 is a beautiful number because it goes with a double kropki relationship on one side, and then it's consecutive with 7 to take it down the other side. So if it did go 1, 2, 4... sorry, let's do this slowly. If it went 1, 2, 4, 8, it would then have to go 7, 6, 5. And if it went 1, 2, 4, 8 this way, it would then go 7, 6, 5. And we end up here. And that is... Well, we get an 8, 7 there. Where does 9 go in this box now? 9 can only go here. Is this all we get? No. Oh, no, it's not all we get, because of course once this becomes 7, 8 this way, and this is a consecutive sequence, that becomes 6. That becomes 9. So this becomes 5 and 6. The 6 gives us the 2 here, so that becomes 2. And now when we get this 2, we now know the order of the 33 cage. It goes 1, 2, 4, 7, 6, 5. And now we can remove 1 and 2 from those squares, look. So this becomes a 3, 5, 6 triple, which means we remove 3, 5 and 6 from this side. Oopsie, I don't think I did that properly, but that becomes a 1. The 2 fixes the 2 and the 4. The 2's here and here now fix a 2 in box 7. Let's do some Sudoku, let's not neglect it. So 4's go in one of those squares. This 4 fixes the 4, 3 at the top. The 1, 2 fix the 9 at the top. So those 3 squares there have got to be 5, 7 and 8. And I haven't actually checked that this is working, this 30 cage. This needs to have 3 consecutive digits in it. So it's got 5 and 6, 4 and 3, 1 and 2. But it can't have any more than that. So if this was a 2, now we've got a black kropki relationship in here, because 4 is double 2, and that would break it. So the 2 must go there, 2, 1. The 5 and the 6 are disambiguated by the bottom, look, so we get those as well. The 1 must be in one of these squares, the 2 must be in one of those squares. Where does 1 go? In the middle box? Yeah, I think I need to do some Sudoku now. That's got to be a 1. These squares have got to be 6, 7 and 9, so that's got to be 7. These have got to be 6 and 9. Where does 9 go in box 8? 9 can only go here. This 7 gives me the 7 and the 8. 8's removed from this square. 5 is removed from both of these squares. This becomes a 2-8 pair. We can get rid of 8 from here. We get a 3-5 pair there. 5 at the top tells us the order. So 3, 5. Oh. Sudoku again comes to our rescue. I should do more Sudoku. 3, 4 here, 3, 4 here, 3, 4 here. So where do 3 and 4 go in box 6? Well, they must go in those two squares. And there's a 4 there. So actually we can go 4, 3, 2, 2, 8. This must be 5 now, because it can't be 7 or 8. 9 must live here. And these two squares, oh, we can do them. 1 and 6, I think. 6 and 9. Three goes here. And we've got the 21 cage might be figured out now. So we need, right, we've got a black kropki dot there and a consecutive here. So we've got 1, 2 and a consecutive here. Oh, this is beautiful. So look, you can't put the 6 there. If you put the 6 at the top of this pair, it creates a second black kropki dot. So you get 2 blacks and 2 consecutives. So this would have to be a 22, which it's not. So it must go this way, 5, 6. This puzzle is absolutely stunning, honestly. I mean, this could be, we could see a whole slew of these, I think, because it's just a brilliant idea, brilliantly executed. That's got to be a 3 by Sudoku because it can't be 7 or 8. 7 or 8 goes here. These squares need a 1. That needs to be a 9. 9 can go there by Sudoku, therefore. We need 5, 7 and 8. Well, that's got to be the 5. This has got to be a 7 or an 8. You can see that creates a 7-8 pair in this row. So this square should be a 6. That fixes the 6 and the 4 and the 3. Gives me a 3 there. This has got to be a 7 or an 8 to complete the box. There's an 8 at the top, so I'm hoping we're not far away from finishing now. We still need to put 5 and 8 into those squares. Please be correct. I don't want to break this puzzle. Yes, what a brilliant Sudoku that is. Absolutely first class, again from RockyRoer. Just gorgeous. I hope you enjoyed it. Well, I hope you enjoyed it half as much as I did. Let me know in the comments as always. And do check out that Kickstarter link, please. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.